Well, welcome to the Undiagnosed Podcast. I am your host, Steve Clifton, aka Steve Clifford, aka Ketchup Man. This is your first time tuning into the Undiagnosed Podcast. Thank you for checking it out. Basically, it's just me just talking about whatever I got going on in my head, basically. I'm a 44-year-old. Don't you hate when you once you get past 40, it's almost like you're almost kind of embarrassed to say how old you are. 44. Like you're born in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. It's like, oh, wow, you're old. I'm not old. I feel old. Anyways, just 44-year-old male here. Christian. I'm on my second year of that. Love it. So I'll be talking about that stuff. I'm talking about church. I'm talking about, worship music. I used to be a comedian before the pandemic. No, just hadn't gone back doing that yet. I'm old and tired. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. The comedy game is a grind. You got to as one of my fellow comedian friends used to say, you like sleep too much. So yeah, you gotta be, it's a grind. And I enjoyed it when I did it, but I'm just not in the season right now, but maybe one day. But until then, I'll just talk to you. I mean, because this is like therapy to me. My insurance just kicked in. I wonder if I got therapy on there. I don't need to see no therapist. I'm fine. That's why I do this. Anyways, so something like that is what I talk about. My background here, from my production team is myself. If you're listening on the audio, it's basically the typical background you see. I got the Maverick stuff going on there. One of my favorite guitarists of all time and singer songwriter Chris Stapleton up there. Something I got at Five Below here about being funny in the Longhorns, who almost pulled that off on Saturday. I feel like we almost pull out, the Longhorns almost pull off one almost every other year. And the thing that's kind of sucks about that, I guess, word to use is it's college football. You lose one game, you're done. 2 games, you're really done. So I still like the Longhorns a lot. I just don't really get into them as much. I don't know. As I get older, I like different stuff, I guess. Anyways, I haven't done this podcast in a month or so. Yeah. It's been working, them bills. Got to get them Benjamins. So since then, I got a new car. That's not a brag. That is not a brag. No 44-year-old man brags about gaining a car payment. I mean, not unless you're like Brad Pitt or something. You don't even know you got car payments. You ever think about that? Like, this is what my brain thinks about sometimes. Like, those rich people like that, they definitely got to have like everything on like auto payment, right? You know what I'm saying? I just don't see, I don't know, Chris Rock sitting down and logging on to his electric company bill. I don't know. Just, he's got to have it on auto, everything on auto. When you put something on auto, you got to trust you have it in there, don't you? Whenever someone says to me, like, you want to do that on auto payment? You're like, even though you've never paid it late before, just in your brain, it's like, I'd rather just know when I'm sending it to you, not just, oh yeah. But anyways, so yeah, I got that new car payment though. So I ain't gone through that new car payment buying process in a while, because my last 3 or 4 cars have been like, tote your note places, or one of those, hey, just pay me do you have a job? Do you have $99? One of those places, This is an actual real legit car lot, so I had to deal with all that. back and forth. Oh, I can do this many payments. Let me go talk to the boss. They keep disappearing. You see the boss over there at the counter. They're looking at each other. It comes back with a different math equation. Let's see. If you do this to split it over this and you bowl an egg and, combed your hair a little bit different, we could get it for $230. It's like, man, just, it's all, that part's all still the same. Then until you get to the point where you're like, you know what, this is my final offer. Like you're on a Deal or No Deal or something. Go tell your manager again up there, this is it, or I'm leaving. I didn't do that. But anyways, it's like one of those things. It's a process. The car that I got was like, okay, you want I'll bring the two colors we only have up. And I'm like, oh, what's it going to be? One was red and one was black. And I'm like, oh, it's my two favorite colors. I chose the red one. So I don't know. I hadn't had a red car in a long time. I'm going to pay for it, put on car payments. Then we get the first thing I thought of is, because I remember whenever I was younger, it's like, doesn't red cost more on insurance? I don't know if it did or not. I got Geico for her money. I just typed it in there. I didn't. That's crazy. That's what's crazy now about insurance. Back in my day, whenever you had to get insurance, like in the late 90s, man, you had to drive your car up there. If you got a new car, you had to drive it up there. I don't know if anybody remembers, you had to drive it up there and they had to look at it. Walk around with a paper and a pencil and a diagram and to make sure that dent was already there, that dent was already now Geico. No, dude, you just go on there, you just type the VIN in. We got you. Bam. Yeah, it's crazy how insurance got better because of the internet. So let's see here. Shout out to Rick. If you're listening, if you made it this far, how far are we in so I can tell you? I don't know. We're like 3 or 4 minutes in. I know you like the podcast. Well, by the way, Rick's my good buddy. He lives up here in Oregon. Went to school with his good buddy Tim, and we're all, buddies. And he listens. He's like the only listener I know that listens. So if I didn't lose him like 6 episodes ago. Anyways, he likes the structured podcast. This is kind of a mixture of structured and going off the cuff. Because sometimes life is too planned out and you got to do spontaneous stuff mixed in with your planned stuff. That's why I did the podcast today. Shout out, Rick. Number 2, I mean, you know what? I'm gonna try to do this without complaining. So I'm not complaining, and I know we've all been talking about all this here recently over the past couple of years, especially with gas going up. It's like I'm doing a commercial. With gas going up and everything, when gas goes up, everything goes up. The grocery store goes up. The eggs go. Why are the eggs so expensive? I don't know. I don't make the price of the eggs. For you guys that don't know me personally, I work at a grocery store. Yeah, I'm a grown man in a grocery store. Don't hate. Hey, we all got our own talents, man. Mine might be straightening mayonnaise faster than you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of that. I can stack a mayonnaise end cap display quick while you're over there at your job trying to manage the funds and anyways, I do work at a grocery store and it's fun. I still enjoy it. I like talking to customers. It's my favorite thing. Like, doing bits. I'm trying to do this clean comedy now that I'm a Christian. First time I did comedy, I got all the low hanging fruit out, all the horrible jokes. So I'm trying to go cleaner this time and on the podcast. So I like trying different bits on customers. I like the t-shirt bit the most. I don't know what it is about t-shirts. I'm fascinated with t-shirts. I guess because I'm a kid from the 80s. And to me, whenever you put on a shirt, I guess, from forever, you put a shirt, that's something that like should represent you. Someone stop me if I'm wrong. All the time you'll see people wearing shirts, and I'll ask them, so Nirvana. Oh man, what was your favorite Nirvana song? Oh, man, it's my cousin's shirt. Man, don't be wearing no Nirvana song if you don't know at least one or two songs. How do you not even, happens all the time. Tupac shirts all the time. There was a kid in my store today. I called him out on a Tool shirt. He's like, oh yeah, he's just naming this song. He knew more songs than me, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. So I love t-shirts, so I do that bit. So especially if I see Christian shirts, like Christian lyrics on songs, I'm like, oh man, I love that song. See if they know it. They always know it, because worship music is awesome. It is. I just came across this genre about 2 or 3 years ago when I came into Christianity here, and I think whenever I was young, I remember hearing some of those in like the late 90s. I think I might even went to a concert one time with this girl from high school. Her name was Hillary. Rest in peace. Hillary. She took me to a concert. It was a Christian concert. I don't remember the names back then, but and then 20, 30 years later, I just started listening to it again. There's a lot of great artists out there, man, singing their hearts out. Soul. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, like real drum solos and guitar solos, and guys with tattoos on their arms and long hair, and rappers. Good stuff. Good stuff. With those songs, it's like you never get tired of them. It's like more every time you hear it, it gets better and gets better. Anyways, good stuff. If you listen, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a Christian, just try some of the music. That's what got me, hooked to it. Because I'm not a good reader. Okay, I couldn't tell you the last full book I read. I'm not a reader, so because you can read the Bible in sections. No, it'd be good to just read the whole thing, but and you should. But yeah, the music's great. Anyways, gonna move along here in my notes here. What I got? Oh, speaking of another good church thing is my pastor Jesse. It just sounds like a good pastor name, don't it? Pastor Jesse was gone all summer for a sabbatical, basically like a leave of absence, and got some rest, did some studying, got regrouped there, traveled a lot and stuff. So he's back, and his first day back, man, it was anticipation was like, man, Jesse's coming back next week. This is gonna be awesome. And of course it was. My pastor there, Jesse there, so good. It's like it's almost like he's not nosy. He don't go around like talking to you, asking you questions and what's going on with everybody. Hey, why are you? But like he just knows. He can just feel stuff. He's a really good guy about filling a room and changing. He calls audibles well, and he changes up his message. And it just seems like, man, he just finds you. You know what I'm saying? Something he's gonna say. Everybody in there at least is gonna get one thing. Per person. It's like he's like, man, how do you know I was worried about that? I don't know. He's good. He's good at his job. So I'm glad he's back. And it was a really good time. We had like a little meal thing afterwards. Dude, I love church foods. Oh man, I love whenever you go to church and they have like a bring your food little sign up thing on there. We do this little sign up thing on the internet online. Sign up on there. I like looking at that list first to see who's bringing what. You're scrolling on there like, oh, she's bringing that. She's gonna kill that. Yeah. Oh, they're changing it up. They're going pastries this time. Okay. Usually they bring some kind of meat dish. So you're analyzing that down, and then you get there, and always there's like stuff with it. Like, hey, I didn't see that on the sign up. How you gonna sneak one up in here and me? Right. And then you have that awkward, like, okay, the food's ready. Like, who's going first? But I know my wife, she's got anxieties on that. So we stand back and we wait a little bit. We let the line, get in line, go ahead. We get up and then there's plenty. Right. And then you get your plate like 19 different items. By the time you sit down, you can't even tell what's on your plate. It all is one, and you're just like, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. And you're tasting stuff. Oh man, so good, so good. And then that one dish every time, right? Whoa, who made that? Who made that? Who made that? This time it was like some kind of like Louisiana, like Cajun, like chicken and like sausage, and like rice. I waited till everybody was out of line, got me another bowl of it. Thanks for coming back, Jess. Anyways, yeah, it was a good time. So what else on my list here? Man, yeah, I'm getting old. Is that what this whole podcast is about now? It's just Steve getting old. That's why it took him a month to do a podcast. What did you go to bed at 4:00, Grandpa? Yeah, it's different, man, when you get in your 40s. I always tell people in my life that when I remember when I was 35, I was like, man, starting to feel different when I was like 35. I think more like a mental thing, or just like finally just like done with that, But now in your 40s, you start feeling the physical ones. Excuse me. Non-COVID cough. Sidebar. I coughed in public the other day, which is kind of risky now. Or is it? I don't know. I was at a middle school football game. My daughter's a cheerleader. Yeah, let that sink in. The quiet one. Yeah, that doesn't. She likes to dance. All these kids like to dance now. We like to dance in the 80s. No, they like to dance now, man. They got 3,000 dance moves they can look up on YouTube. Have you ever seen one of these? They're always dancing. Stop dancing. You're in line at, they dance everywhere. They're always dabbing and deucing and danking and dinking. I don't know. They're always doing. Have you ever heard of this one? It's from this show. Like, man, way more than we were. We were like, when did you dance? When you went skating, maybe? Or the high school dance when you just stood there and drank the punch? No, you didn't dance like these kids. These kids dance for a living. Anyways, she likes to dance, so she's in there. We went to this middle school game, and I had to. I didn't cough. I sneezed. I was also holding it. I sneezed. I did one of those. I'm not gonna get looked at. Everybody's like nothing. I was like, oh man, I'm sneezing public now. My wife's like, shh. Anyways, yeah, just getting old. Take care of yourself. You need to hydrate. That's why I'm drinking water. While I'm drinking water. I've drank more water in my 40s than I think ever in my life. Is that a brag? I think that's a humble brag there. They call me the water drinker. Yeah, you gotta drink water, man. You gotta stay hydrated. And that's a problem for me because I don't hydrate in just any kind of drink enough. I just never have been I'm never thirsty. Is it like a superpower or is that like an issue? I don't know. I've just never, I see people that's always got a drink in their hand. I mean, I know people for such and such Dr. Pepper. Everybody's got their own drink. Like, well, they drink, I don't have one. I'm just never really been thirsty. So it's hard enough for me to just drink water. So I got to make sure I stay hydrated. I even set alarms on my phone at work. Go drink a water. Go drink a water. Drink some drink. Because I'm old. This is what you have to look forward to. Anyways, not beating up myself because I'm great. Speaking of not great, the Cowboys started their season last night, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even watch 1 second of it yet. I ain't even watched the highlight. Okay. Not even watched the highlight. I've seen the memes online and I know what happened because, I'm not living in a rock, but I just, going into it, I was like, I had to work anyways. I had to work anyways. And I'm like, I'm not going to trying to listen to this at work. So I'll just Ignore all these text messages because that's what happens when you live in Dallas, Texas. And you have friends that are Cowboys fans. They let you know everything, every snap on a text message thread. And I got like 6 different ones of those with different people. So my phone was like, it was like, oh my God, sound like I had speakers in my car back in the 90s, just rolling the Bone Thugs, just that's what my phone sounded like. So I just finally just went and plugged it in. Like I said, I work at a grocery store. So all the people that were shopping in the grocery store during the Cowboy games obviously don't care about the Cowboys. We got slow in there. None of them were going to say, oh, by the way, dude over there, it looks like he might like the Cowboys. They're losing 19, so I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? I got my car, and on the way home, I just still like, I guess. So I finally turned it like on the fan, and they said, the final score is 19-3 or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And I turned it off, and I haven't said anything carried in. I ain't even turned it on Sports Center. Because that's what they're talking about. Dak Prescott broke his arm today, 6 to 8 weeks. That's why this is called the Undiagnosed Podcast, because I diagnosed myself that way too. Whenever I hurt something, like a rib or something, I think, oh man, I'll be all right. I think I might be out 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, I don't know. I got 4 fantasy teams because I'm a moron, and yeah, I did that. I don't know. I used to do just one when I first started. Then I finally figured out like one is like, oh man, if your team loses, you're like, man, oh. But if like you have 2 teams, there's a chance that like, okay, well, at least in this other one I won. And usually whenever you have 2 teams, one of your teams takes off and the other one's kind of trash. That's how it usually works out. So at least, you have some kind of, there's every once in a while, both your teams are horrible that whole year. And that's like, hardly ever both your teams good. Not unless you're like one of those dudes that sit with a spreadsheet and watching ESPN tweet hotline, one of those guys. But I play in free leagues because I don't gamble, because I don't have money to gamble. So you kind of get what you're gonna get. And then I don't know. I just this year I ended up doing 4. It's just like because I had a friend of mine. You know the friend. We all have that one friend. 2 friends probably. Hey man, you want to be in my fantasy league? Yeah. So I did that, and I was like, okay, well, since I'm on this app that I had to download for a different one, might as well get another team. And on my other app that I already had a team in, might as well get another team. So I went 4 teams, and I think I won 1 out of the 3. Yeah. I won a couple of my teams. I went Cowboy heavy. Why? Because I'm an idiot. So it's season's already over. When do the Mavericks start? Come on. They say Luka looks good. They say Luka looks a little I don't know. Some stories I hear that Luka's smoking a cigarette, and the next time I hear Luka looks leaner than ever. I mean, I don't know. When you have hair like that, you can do whatever you want, I guess. I hadn't had hair like that since ever. Luka look at me in the 4th quarter, already scored 42 points, 16 rebounds, 28. Like someone's coming out there during halftime and spraying his hair up again. Anyways, yeah, when do the Mavs start? I'm ready for that. Seriously. Dude, I can't name 2 Rangers. That's horrible. They used to be my favorite sports team in sport. I can't name it. I don't know. Joey Gallo. I don't know. I can't name 2 of them. Marcus Semien, and I don't know. Some of the dude they got from the Dodgers. I ain't been to the new ballpark because I'm a wagon. What was wrong with the older ballpark? I think the other ballpark was great. Why did we have to get a new one? It needs to be air conditioner. Didn't you think about that 25 years ago? Well, we didn't have as much money then. Okay, yeah, I get it. Anyways, I'll go eventually when someone gives me free tickets. Hey, I got a free ticket. You want to go? Sure. Anyways, if you want any free Ranger tickets, hit me up. Anyways, I think that's the podcast, guys. I don't want to ramble on for too long. People are like, this guy's still talking about his issues. anyways, thanks for tuning in, all three of you. I'm probably gonna rewatch this again. Make sure that I edit on anything bad. I didn't say anything bad. I did that on purpose. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time. Hey, gal.